So off one of my posts last week, a good friend of mine, Dave Lee from Big Hand, asked for content that explains how engagement works on LinkedIn. So I thought I'd put together this video that's really a big picture on how LinkedIn works and how content that you produce for your personal brand can really be taken up a notch. So I want to start first of all, and this is not just applicable to LinkedIn, but any social media platform. You got to think about their North Star, and everyone's North Star is this. They want to keep people on their platform for as long as possible. So when you know that, when you're putting together content or you're contributing to LinkedIn, that you want to do it in a way that will keep people's attention for as long as possible, because the algorithm will reward you for that. Now, another important part of understanding LinkedIn is these three pillars, and they are platform, formats, culture. What I mean by platform is you need to think specifically about the platform in which you're engaging on. Now, in the case of LinkedIn, they are very much focused on content that gives insights and knowledge to people. So doing TikTok dances, probably not going to work on LinkedIn, okay? The other thing I want you to think about as well is what's the goal of the content that you produce. You can make it educational, engaging, entertaining, inspirational, or promotional. But notice that here I've done 4 things that are focused on your audience and 1 thing to promote you. You really should be thinking about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the content that you're producing should be for the benefit of the audience and your end user, and 20% should be promotional, where you're talking about your business or talking about an offer that you have. And they want you to give your experience and your opinions as well. We've all got skills. We've all got the ability to Google how to do things. So that, 3 tips to do this is okay, but really where you can level up is give your 3 tips to do X, but then give your own experience and your own opinions. That gives it a lot more flavor and a lot more value to the people who are going to be engaging with it. And finally, all platforms, and especially LinkedIn, like you to use a variety of their formats, and we'll talk about that in a little minute. But anytime you see a new feature come up with LinkedIn, give it a try, because their algorithm will favor people who are early adopters to their new features. So one of their more recent ones is audio events, for example. So you can get a lot of engagement there for live events. Now, what you don't want to do, and this is almost as important as understanding what you do want to do, you don't want to be putting out content there that is generic, that ChatGPT could spit out. It's really important to give your lived experience when it comes to talking about content. The LinkedIn engineers hate seeing content go viral. They are a professional B2B platform, and they have gotten a lot of feedback from their audience. They want to see content that is relevant to them. So for that reason, it will actually flag to the engineers that something needs to change if they see someone who works in tech in Sydney on a SaaS product posting something that is getting liked by someone who installs pools in Liechtenstein. That level of virality is what they do not want to see. And you also need to remember that as well when it comes to posting your content. Just because it doesn't get a huge amount of likes doesn't mean it's not getting in front of the right amount of people. And I'll talk a bit more about that later as well. But just something to keep in mind. Another thing as well is don't humble brag. Pointless humble bragging is pretty useless on LinkedIn because it doesn't add value to anything. By all means, if you accomplish a huge achievement, talk about it, but then give the flavor of this is how I achieved it. Or if you want to achieve something like this, I would suggest going here. Again, going back to that, wanting to give insights and give value to your audience. And finally, double asterisks on this one. Do not make content that is likely to appear on your auntie's Facebook. Posting meals that you ate, places that you go with a little thumbs up, no one cares, and the LinkedIn algorithm will punish you if you share content like that. So always keep it professional. So the next part then is formats. Specifically, there's 12 things that you can do on LinkedIn to engage with the platform and generate content. And I'm going to start from the bottom here and work my way up. But celebrations, the likelihood is most people who have been on LinkedIn have used this functionality. So when you change jobs and you post about it on LinkedIn, that is counted as a celebration. So this, I'm really going in ascending order of ease of execution for this content. Starting at the bottom, most people have done celebrations. Direct messages are also very easy. There's a lot of people out there who may not post content at all, but they're very active in direct messages. And this is an important part of LinkedIn as well. The algorithm is noticing people who are reaching out and having conversations in their DMs, because again, it goes back to this goal of keeping people on the platform. Resharing, a lot of people might do this if they want to support their friend. What you don't want to do is just blindly reshare, like retweeting back in the day. So on that point, when you reshare something, give your insights, give your opinions on top of the reshare. Again, going back to that idea that it's an insights platform, that is really what you need to be doing every time you reshare something. Text post, pretty self-explanatory, very easy to do. And polls are another option that people can do. And this is really something where you want to get people engaging. Maybe you want to get some data points around something. And it's very easy for people to just engage with that. And it's something a bit different that you don't see all that often. Image posts, pretty self-explanatory. Selfies are really good. So again, if you want to have a selfie with someone that you've met at a business event and then give a lot of context and a lot of value in the text part of the post, those sorts of content pieces work really well. Carousels are another one. So you might have seen these from larger creators who'll, they might take a blog they've got and they'll chop it up into a carousel that's visual. They make it up on Canva. That again is keeping people on the platform. So carousels are good to do. You do need to have some sort of an eye for design, but they don't need to be overly complex. Documents are another one. So you can actually share PDFs on LinkedIn, which can work really well if you've got some sort of a report. If you share that report organically, it can get a lot of views because, again, it's going back to education and insights. LinkedIn newsletter and articles. So I've combined these two because really if you're doing one, you should have the other. So you might notice people doing LinkedIn Pulse articles. These are really great for, one, increasing the half-life of your content because it stays on LinkedIn. It has SEO benefits. Producing native LinkedIn articles that then link to your website or your blog or whatever it is. It's a great way to capture traffic and increase your discoverability. And the newsletter function allows you to then, whenever you release a new LinkedIn article, it will push that out to everyone who follows or has subscribed to your LinkedIn newsletter. So really powerful tool there. A video, this isn't for everyone, but anyone has noticed the increase in the rise in demand of video. It's one of the reasons why I got into video podcasts in particular, because it's a great way to get that video element and have that education insights element. And then audio events. These last two are really for the ultra brave people who want to go live with their audience. Again, when you go live on LinkedIn, be it in an audio event, which is, as it states, it's an audio only platform, almost like a live podcast, and a live video event, all of these things are a great way to get engagement and answer people's questions in real time. Not for everyone, but very rewarding for those who do attempt it. And the final part there is culture. So with culture, you have to always think about the culture of the platform in which you're posting on. So in the case of LinkedIn, the culture there, it's all professional connections. You're not on there to make friends with people. People know when they're having conversations on LinkedIn that it's going to be about work. There's a very high level of voyeurism on LinkedIn as well. And what I mean by that is a huge portion of people who have a LinkedIn account, many of them still just see it as another version of their CV. They might go on, they might scroll a bit, they might see a bit, they might like, and then they'll go off. But very few people actually post. But if you think about that, it can actually be a really great thing, because if your competitors aren't posting, and when I say their company might be posting, but the individuals who work at that company may not be posting, that presents a really good opportunity. But again, don't be offended if you're not getting huge volumes of likes. It's not that type of platform. Third, people are in business mode. So again, this is really good to think about when you are reaching out to people. You know, a lot of people are reluctant to message people on LinkedIn. They might be seen as, you know, salesy or whatever else. But ultimately, people know that this is a business platform. So you're actually a lot more likely to get a response on LinkedIn versus any of the other social media platforms. Another thing I love about LinkedIn is it's a lot less toxic than any of the other platforms. Again, because this is tied to people's professionalism, you'll find in the comments of a LinkedIn post, it's a lot more like a community. Everyone is, you know, congratulating people on great content, giving their own insights. Whereas if you look at the comment section of, you know, Facebook or Instagram, the nature of the comments are quite different and can sometimes be quite negative. So that's a really good point around LinkedIn. There's also a huge butterfly effect as well on LinkedIn. And what I mean by butterfly effect is when someone engages who's a first degree connection. What I mean by first degree connection is they're directly connected with you. If they like your content, what will happen is on their connections newsfeed, who you may not be connected with, what you'll notice is such and such has liked this post. And that creates great discoverability if you've got a lot of connections in your industry, because you're able to be organically found by more people. And it's a good thing as well to think about the culture and the mindset of people. So if you can, Tuesday and Wednesday mornings are statistically the best times to post on LinkedIn. But remembering that this is a work platform, posting at the weekends, it can be good. There are people on LinkedIn. I know myself, I'm on LinkedIn sometimes at the weekend, but there are less people on there at the weekend than there are during the working week. So it's just something to be mindful of there around the culture on LinkedIn. So I'm going to talk a bit about the algorithm itself and how it works now. So what happens is you post content on LinkedIn. What happens as soon as you post is the algorithm starts to judge what you've posted. Now, I've put spam at the top because this is the do not pass go option if you're playing Monopoly. If you produce spammy content, it's not even going to let it go out to the audience. It's going to put it straight dead in the water here. So the things you need to watch out for when you are producing posts and what will flag it as spam is if you're using action-based hashtags. So if you're using things like hashtag repost, hashtag comment, these are things that are obviously soliciting a reaction and are seen as spammy. If you're using bad grammar in your posts, if you're using more than one third-party link, again, going back to the idea you want to keep people on the platform, if you're giving loads of different links off the platform, you're going to be penalized for it. If you post less than 3 hours from your last post, this is another thing to be mindful of. You don't want to be seen as spammy. Not many people do it. Some people do, but those accounts will be negatively impacted. And as well as that, don't go trying to tag the entire country in a post, because that again is just looks like someone who's trying to solicit and game the algorithm. So don't do any of these and you'll be okay. So you may not do any of these, but your content may not be that good. But if it passes this spam filter, there's then two other types of content. So there's low quality and then there's high quality. Regardless, all of them are going to get posted out to a small percentage of your audience to start off with. And the first 60 to 90 minutes are crucial when it comes to this. If you're getting a lot of engagement in that period, you're getting a lot of comments, you're getting a lot of likes, it's then going to start to boost your post out to more people. Now, what you don't want to do is you want to avoid engaging in LinkedIn pods. Going back to that point around LinkedIn not liking virality, if you're in these engagement pods where it's, maybe a number of different professionals aren't necessarily related to you, but they're bodies who can press like and comment, that's going to teach the algorithm, hold on a second, this person who is meant to be in SAS in Sydney is getting all of these different likes from all over the world in this period of time from unrelated people. That's a bit sus. Maybe we should reduce the prevalence of this post. The second one is you want to minimize sharing content that takes people off the platform. So if you're sharing third-party links, you're not going to get as much visibility, unless you're a really big personality on LinkedIn, you're not going to get as much visibility because you are posting content that's taking people off the platform. So you want to save those links for the comments. You also want to avoid content and comments in particular that are less than 4 words and don't provide any value. If you look at these posts that you put up as almost like a conversation starter at a party, someone might comment, you need to make sure that you're commenting back, but you also make sure what you're commenting back has value. You can often find really great content in the comment section of a LinkedIn post that has a lot of engagement. So just think about that, because I see a lot of people on LinkedIn, they'll be like, great post, hands up emoji. That does not look good on your professional profile because you're not adding value. And a lot of people, I think, do that in a sense that they know comments are good and they want to be supportive of a post, but they may not want to be seen as giving unsolicited opinions. But ultimately, on a LinkedIn post, people are soliciting people's insights and input. You want people to be commenting on your post. The more people that comment on your post, the more active the post will become. So always try and give value in the comments as well and respond to every comment. Because if you respond to every comment, if you get 3 comments, you end up having 6 comments overall and you have a more engaging post. But if you do make those mistakes, what will happen is it just limits your engagement and then your post becomes dead in the water. Now, the things you do want to do, you want to DM relevant contacts. A lot of activity happens on LinkedIn behind the feed. And what I mean is people are messaging each other, DMing each other, and having conversations. This again trains the algorithm what kind of people you engage with and what kind of people engage with you. So a great thing to do if you want to, maybe reinvigorate a prospect is actually send them one of your pieces of content that you think would be of value to them, and it can start a conversation. And likewise, if you've got a newsletter or a group of people who are actually relevant to your profession, then you can use those avenues as well to say, here's my post from this morning. I hope you get value from it. These are great ways to, again, if you can do that in the first 60 to 90 minutes and get that engagement up, that will really improve the performance of your post. I mentioned it earlier, but save third-party links for the comments. If you are wanting to promote an event or something like that, just say in your post that the link for the event will be in the comments, because then people will be inclined to like. Because I don't know if you've noticed this in LinkedIn, but if you like a post, you will get notified when people comment on that post. So I always like something that I want to keep across because I know someone will eventually post that third-party link that they mentioned. That's a good thing to do. Thirdly, treat the comment section like an in-person event conversation. So I've touched on this previously. When you post something, it's not just a one-way thing. You want to encourage engagement. You want to be asking questions. And if you think about it like it was a professional event, you're not going to go up to someone and say, great point, and walk away. You're going to try and engage with them. So think about that when you're operating in the comments. Back yourself as well. what I like to do with my posts is I'll actually like my own post. One, because it will assist in that first 60 to 90 minutes, but it's also a psychological thing in my head. Good on me for posting that, you know? Some people try to avoid it because it does look a bit sad when someone's liked their own post. But I think that if you look past that and look at what that's saying to yourself from an internal point of view, it can be really helpful. And another helpful thing for getting engagement is you want to start with a one-line hook in your copy that incentivizes people to press see more. Because when the algorithm sees that see more section, what it will do is it will start boosting the post more because it's suggesting that people are interested in that content, and it's more likely to tag your content as high quality content. So I'm going to go over to a little engagement post here, one of my more recent ones. So you can see in terms of how I've laid the copy out. When people are looking at a LinkedIn post, you want to make it as easy to read as possible. So maximum 2 or 3 lines per point. Get a lot of white space in there. Use emojis sparingly, but they do help to just make that copy a bit more visually engaging. Add something that's not in the video. But what I'll show you here, and what's really important to note, is, so this is a reasonable like count for one of my posts based on the statistics. But if you look down here, there's 37 people who've liked it. There's been 15 comments, but the impressions are nearly 1,500, which is huge. So that's going back to the butterfly effect, because it's how other people are discovering your content. Where if you fixate on number of likes or number of comments or number of reshares, what'll happen is you'll just get jaded with the whole thing, and you're less likely to continue with posting content. So that's it for me in terms of my LinkedIn rundown. If you've got any ideas for other videos like this, relevant to engaging professionally on LinkedIn with video, give me a shout. I hope you found this valuable. If you have, please press the subscribe button because this will be on my YouTube channel. And yeah, have a great day and keep up the LinkedIn work. Cheers.